Hello, I'm Todd Phillips. I'm here today with Gino Caputo. He's a senior VP head of TD Auto Finance Canada. Gino, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, excellent, Todd. Nice to meet you.
Well, I'm going to meet you again very shortly at the CADA Summit. Really excited that it's happening in person, February 15th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. And so are you excited about getting back to a live in-person event?
Oh, absolutely. Having joined the business just a little over a year ago, and of course, it was most of it was virtual. It's great that we're able to bring back the industry, the dealers, the network, as well as all of our TD Auto Finance colleagues and the industry to do it in person again. Absolutely.
And it's a great lineup this year. I'm on the summit planning committee, so I've sort of had access to, the lineup as it's been filling in and over the past few months. But in terms of, what's coming up, what are you excited to see? Who are you excited to hear from at this year's event?
Yeah, I think to start off, the opportunity to do this in person just means so much more engagement and the ability to network and have really deep and meaningful conversations that will enrich the learning experience. I think we've yearned for that for a number of years here, and I think it'll be a great opportunity to do that. In terms of the agenda, look, it's filled with some great topics and speakers. This will be my first in-person summit, so I'm really looking forward to soak it all in. First off, I'm going to be very interested in building on the relationships that I've already have over the last year, and just to meet lots of new people in the industry. In terms of the content, really can't wait to hear about the macro environment and what's going on and happening with supply chains and, of course, the inventory levels. Obviously, a very important topic is going to be EVs as they continue to grow as a share of total auto sales. And I'm interested in understanding how this part of the industry is evolving and learning from other global markets in the EV space and how it actually compares to the Canadian marketplace. Hearing from dealers is always a great way to gain insight into what's going on the ground floor and learning about how we as a financing source can adapt and support their changing needs. And finally, just looking forward to the reception where I can connect with so many dealers, industry leaders as much as possible and get a better appreciation for their nuanced thinking.
Well, it's interesting. It is a great lineup. Earlier today, actually, I interviewed Sverre Helno, who is the head of a Norwegian car dealer group, about the experience over there, where his particular group, they're upwards of 90% adoption of EVs in terms of new vehicles sold, which is not the case at all in Canada. So he's going to really take us through, the experience of what that migration looks like. So I think a lot of people will be really keen to hear what lessons have been learned and stuff. So yeah, you're right. And the whole EV landscape, very interesting times. In terms of the economy, you mentioned the macroeconomic landscape. I know one of your senior economists, Thomas Feldmade, is going to be presenting, and others from the Bank of Canada. But what are you hearing? What are you seeing? I know dealers, when I talk to them at the event, they're always a bit anxious to figure out obviously what lies ahead. What's your sense of how things are shaping up?
Yeah, no, great question. And, you're right. We do have a very unique perspective given the fact that, we support dealers on retail financing, but we also support them on the commercial wholesale financing. So that's also an interesting perspective. The Canadian market continues to feel the squeeze of sort of the ongoing supply chain disruptions. So while things do appear to be improving incrementally, I would say that the level of sales do remain on the lower end of what we would normally see typically across the economic cycle. It appears now that the final numbers are coming in that in 2022, vehicle sales in Canada will be approximately around 1.5 million units, and that's 20% below where we were pre-pandemic. And in some of the more recent months, you almost have to go back to the 2008 period. But on the other hand, we are starting to see some improvement in terms of North American production. We are starting to see inventory levels begin to rebuild. It is a different experience across different OEMs, so it's not uniform, but we think that trend is likely going to continue as we head into 2023. I think on the demand side, I would say that there is some concern around the uncertainty. And so when you look at the fact that we've gone through the fastest, if not the fastest, increase in interest rates over the last 12 months, that coupled with elevated new and used vehicle prices, even though those prices have come off their highs. When you take sort of, the higher interest rates and elevated prices, it's going to have an impact on consumer debt affordability. And so we think that when we look at total unit sales for 2023, we're expecting sort of a flattish type of environment. That's certainly what we're seeing in the most recent numbers. And I think, really the optimism of getting back to where we were pre-pandemic at sort of a normal run rate of about 1.7 to 1.9 million units. I think we're a couple of years from that, and I think we'll gradually grow into that. So, from a bank perspective and from a finance source perspective, while the auto industry continues to evolve with these trends, TD Auto Finance remains steadfast and proud to stand alongside our dealer partners and find ways to help them grow their business despite these challenges.
Well, that gets actually to my last question is that TD has been solidly behind this event. In fact, you're the event's exclusive sponsor since it started more than a decade ago. Why does your organization really feel the support for this particular event? I mean, it's been steady all the way through.
Yeah, first off, we are honored to be the exclusive sponsor since the inception. And it really speaks to our commitment to the dealer network. We're super excited about bringing the industry back together in person. And so, yes, I'm very excited about that. When I think about from the start of the pandemic, our teams remained highly visible with the dealer network, supporting both remotely, particularly during the worst parts of the pandemic, but also as soon as we could get out, we were out in front of dealers, in their dealerships, finding ways to get financing deals done and support their growth. So getting back to the summit, while we made the most of the virtual setting for the last 2 years, the opportunity to be back in person, as I said earlier, brings just such great dynamic element to the learning experience and really demonstrating that we're behind this industry and all the reasons we talked about earlier around sort of the future of the industry and our ability to and desire to continue to support it.
Well, it's a great industry. There's none like it. And for those of us who are fortunate enough to make a living work in the auto sector, it's a great place to be. And thanks for joining us today, Gino.
I appreciate that, Todd. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the summit.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing you at the summit too. So signing off.